So here we are with the new Tomb Raider reboot. As we join the action here, Lara is attempting to escape from the natives of an island that she's been shipwrecked on. And she's trying to make her way back to the ship's captain, Roth, who has contacted her via radio. There are some other survivors on this island with her from the shipwreck, but there seems to be like a strange native cult, almost, on the island. And it's all wrapped up with like Eastern mysticism, as you'd expect a Tomb Raider title to be. So we've had brief sections already where Lara finds weapons and tools and stuff, and she learns to hunt, and she makes campfires that act like the game's fast travel, skill leveling, and there's like weapons crafting and tool crafting in there as well. So we're still being taught combat techniques here. This is one of the very early missions. I'd say we're maybe about 45 minutes to an hour in. She's already been captured, and we've had that sort of the famous sequence that we saw in presentations and stuff. There was a bit of controversy about it. That scene was actually it was quite a small part of a much longer, larger sequence. But the whole thing was really quite tense and exciting. So it's not out of place. It doesn't. It's not like jarring. It's not just there for the shock value. It kind of does have meaning. And also, we got a pistol from an earlier encounter, so she has got a gun. But the game actually, for this section, the game auto switched me to the bow for stealth purposes, because I'm trying not to get caught here. And the ammo for this has so far been very plentiful, so I'm not really that concerned about it. But there is also a perk that lets you recover your used arrows from the victims' corpses, which is nice.
Lara, are you there?
Yes.
I can see smoke coming from the old ruins. Are you okay?
Oh God.
The game sort of jumps fairly seamlessly between cutscenes and like set piece areas, and then there are these sections of traversal as well and combat. And that's all very easy and seamless. It kind of all blends into itself.
Don't worry about them right now. You just do whatever it takes to get to me, Lara.
Now the landscape is kind of strewn with these like boxes. There's ammo things and there's boxes of salvage around the place. That lets you improve your tools. And then once you've improved your tools, you can access different areas of the more open sections. So you kind of keep revisiting those, and you'll be able to get to different places. And there are many routes through the landscape sections like this, so you are kind of encouraged to explore, to try and find those extra salvage crates, and also there are quite a few collectibles, seemingly. So this is one of those campfires. We'll skip over that when we get to the edit. Okay, so as you can see, the game's still sort of teaching me little bits and pieces. So this is telling me that I can distract those enemies by shooting arrows into the wall. And then that noise kind of just distracts them, and it buys you an extra couple of seconds. And that can be useful because the bow can be charged. If you aim with the left trigger, the bow can be charged with the right trigger, and you get a more powerful shot. It can just be sort of pinged off quickly. But if you have that extra bit of time, you can charge up the shot and you can sort of one-hit a lot of the enemies. So we can see there's like little sections of traversal and stuff in between the combat. It's almost like very, very small kind of challenge rooms. And then fire is used quite a lot in these early levels, so you can burn up the areas where you're blocked. So anywhere where there's like white rags and stuff, there's quite often sources of fire near them, or if you have a torch you can walk over and set fire to them. So that clears your route. So that all burns up, and then you can get through these other little areas. And in these early sections there's quite a lot of emphasis on timing your attacks. So these are, although they're quite linear, you kind of still have to try and stay out of sight and remain a bit stealthy until you've got a bit of an advantage. So there, in the space of a few minutes, we've gone from Lara's vomit-inducing first gruesome kill, to where she can now casually ping arrows into dudes and murder them at close range. So this section plots Lara's escape, but it's also the start of her fighting back, and she works her way through the corridors and small rooms, clearing them as she goes, traversing the environment and then burning her way through any blockages. But fire isn't always the answer. In this combat scenario, I saw these guys and assumed that starting the fire behind them with the small lantern, I assumed that would harm them or at least distract them. But as it turned out, I was wrong. Maybe I just got my timing wrong, but you can hit that. It just doesn't turn out too well for me. They seem to see me as soon as I hit the lantern. Now, lucky enough, the combat in these situations isn't too tough, so you can kind of make a little mistake now and again. Most of my deaths so far have been the result of like quick time events that really took me by surprise. But I think you can dial the difficulty up or down in these combat scenarios too. And as you can see, there are more enemies now coming because I've alerted the ones that were here, so they shout for help, and sort of makes it all a bit more difficult. If I'd have managed to get through this area stealthily, then I might have been able to approach those guys in my own terms, on my own terms. So, as it was, this gets quite tough, and I'm on fire. And I would say that will just about do it for this quick look at Tomb Raider.